Alrighty. So today we're going to be going over chapters 11, 12, and 13, which are organizing and outlining your ideas. So this is going to be part 3 in our textbook. So the preparation outline. This is a requirement that I have for all 4 speeches, is that you create an outline. I do have if you go onto your D2L in the content tab and you look at that list, there is a speech outline example and template. Please use that template. I've made that because if you fill it all out with your information, full sentences, you're going to get full credit for that outline. It just makes it easier for you guys and it makes it easier for me. Like they say, don't fix what's not broken. Use outline. If you choose not to, that's up to you, but please use that outline, that template. So, the preparation outline. What is it? Well, it is our little sheet that has all of our information for the speech. So you can kind of do your speech ahead of time. So the purpose of this is you would state the specific purpose of your speech. You would then identify the central idea or the thesis statement. Label the introduction, body, and conclusion. Follow the pattern of symbolization and indentation shown in the lecture text and handout. So the handout is what I have given to you guys. It is that template. As long as you just literally follow that, don't change it up, you'll be fine. And then write in complete sentences. We are not doing half sentences, one words. We are doing full, complete sentences, if not multiple sentences in your outline. You want to have your ideas fully fleshed out before you do your speech. If you just write one word or half of a sentence, you're only going to be able to speak one word or half of a sentence. You're not going to have that extra information that you had writing down. So the specific purpose, as we talked about last week, the specific purpose is the why of you doing your speech. So stated at the top of your preparation outline is going to be at the top. You'll see if you look at the template. It is stated as an infinitive phrase, so it is a full sentence. It's not a question. Never stated as a question, so we're doing a statement and full sentence. And it's going to be what will your audience do as a result of your speech? So why are you doing this speech? What is the goal that you're trying to get out of it? For your speaking outline, this is something that does not need to be turned in. It is something for you to do on your own time, just because it will help you. You can do whatever symbols and indentation that is in the other outline, the preparation outline that you turn in. You do the same so that, it can be consistent. You want to make your outline easy to read, so you can do this in big font, bolded font. If you want, something for emphasis, you can, italicize the words. Just don't do that in the preparation outline. Preparation outline needs to be Times New Roman 12-point font. It's already like that on the sheet, so you just would need to keep it that way. You want to write out your introduction completely, so you have that fully fleshed out. You outline your body of speech in as few words as possible, so this is where you do one word or half of a sentence, because you want to be able to when you're doing your speech, you don't want to read from the sheet. You want to be able to look down, immediately see what you want to say, and then be able to convey that. You're going to want to write out your conclusion completely. Once again, you want to flesh that out. And then add delivery cues. So this can be up to you. What I like to do is if I'll have a little key for myself. If I want to really emphasize something, I'll italicize it. If I want to, maybe pause for emphasis, I'll put a star next to it. This is just so you know what you're supposed to be doing. Your delivery cues is up to you, but it's just to help you know exactly what you need to do. So the preparation outline is what you're turning in. That's 12-point font, you know, black ink, full sentences, you know, everything on there. The speaking outline, you do not need to turn in. Use the same symbols and indentation as the preparation outline, but you're going to want to, you know, make it easy to read if that's making the text bigger or bold or different color. You're going to want to add delivery cues. It's different. So those are the two different ones. So bibliography, two of our speeches will require the use of a works cited. This is going to be on the final page of your outline. It's going to be by itself. So even if your speech runs into maybe a fourth of a page, go completely to a new page and start it. You're going to want to put works cited, and that's going to be in the middle of the page. And then you're going to want to shift the next text to the right, and that's going to be using MLA or APA format. I personally prefer APA format because that's what my schooling has used mostly. If you want to use MLA, I know both of them. I can grade them both easily. Just make sure you use one of those formats. I will provide a handout on what it looks like and how you do this. But if you look on the example, the speech outline example, that last page is a bibliography. It's works cited. So yeah, I will put that out there, the handout, and if you have any questions, let me know. So we're going to go over different types of orders for speeches. So an example of a chronological order, so your specific purpose, to inform my audience of the steps in getting a professional tattoo. So your thesis statement is there are 4 main steps in getting a professional tattoo. Then you're going to want to have each of your main points in chronological order, so that is a time order. That's first, second, third, fourth. You do this first, this second, this third, and finally this fourth. So I guess getting a professional tattoo chronologically would be first, the skin is shaved and sterilized. Second, the main lines of the tattoo are traced. Tattoo are traced on the skin with a machine called an outliner. Third, colored pigments are applied inside the outlined area with a machine called a shader. And fourth, the tattoo is sterilized and bandaged. So that is the timely order. If you were to do a self-introductory speech using chronological order, which is typical, you would want to use this was my birth, this was my childhood, this is my teenhood. And if you are an adult, this is my adulthood so far. That would be chronological order. An example of spatial order, so this is an order about the space. Specific purpose, to inform my audience about the design of the Eiffel Tower. Thesis statement, the Eiffel Tower is divided into 3 sections. Since they said 3 sections, they're going to give 3 main points. The first being the lowest section of the tower contains the entrance, a gift shop, and a restaurant. The middle section consists of stairs and elevators that lead to the top, and the top section of the tower includes an observation deck with a spectacular view of Paris. So this is spatial order, so they're talking about the lower space, the middle space, the upper space. A really good example of a self-introductory speech using spatial order that I have seen before, which many people do not do, and we will not be doing in this class, is someone going throughout their body and saying I broke my clavicle and I bruised my rib, and told different stories about different spaces on their body. That would be spatial order. Another one could be if you want to talk about your house, you would talk about, the living room, the bathroom, the bedroom, the kitchen, different spaces, and you just go in order of different space. An example of a problem solution order. So this is saying there's a problem and then going, this is the solution. Specific purpose: to persuade my audience that the United States should act now to solve the problem of adult illiteracy. Thesis statement: adult illiteracy is a continuing problem that can only be solved by a national commitment on the part of government and individual citizens. Whew, that's a hefty thesis statement. So the main points is that adult illiteracy has reached crisis proportions in the US, so that is the problem. And then the second point is solving the problem will require action by government and citizens alike. So the problem, there's a lot of illiterate adults in the US, and solving the problem is requiring action by the government and citizens alike. I would say we should put in a third point here. I will require 3 to 4 points for each speech. Don't go below 3. And if you go above 4, you might go over time, and we don't want to do that. So a third point here would be actually, what would solve the problem? What is the actual solution? Not just like, there's going to be action. It would be maybe implementing required reading and writing classes for all adults. I don't know. And then there's topical order. So this is going by different topics. So you would have like an umbrella topic, and then each point is going to be a different topic underneath that. So this one is the specific purpose is to inform my audience of the major kinds of fireworks. Thesis statement: the major kinds of fireworks are skyrockets, Roman candles, pinwheels, and lances. Main points, we talk about the skyrockets, the Roman candles, the pinwheels, and the lances. That one's pretty self-explanatory. A good example of this, trying to think. Maybe like different kinds of flowers that are native to Virginia. Then you can list different flowers that are native to Virginia and tell a little bit about them. Or South Carolina in your guys' realm, Virginia in mine. This is another example of topical order. I will leave this up for a second so you guys can pause and read it. This is more of a topical order about, having a topic and then saying different things about that topic. So this one is Picasso. He was a painter, sculptor, printmaker. So you would talk about those 3 aspects of him. If you were to talk about John Cena, for example, you'd say like wrestling, acting, and then like philanthropy work. I can never say that word. So on your own time, if you would like to participate in this exercise, you can identify the organizational pattern. I'll pause for a second so you guys can read. You can pause on your side, and then I will say the organizational pattern. This one would be topical, the one that we just talked about, because it's about the same person, but 2 aspects of that same person, different topics. This one is chronological because it talks about, how it was in the Old West, then the 1920s, and then today. This one is problem solution. The first point is a problem. The second point is the solution. This one is spatial because we are talking about different spaces of the Egyptian burial tomb. So yeah, hopefully you guys, if you played along with that, you got those correct. And you can go back and look at this video again to see those examples. Yeah. So talking about connectives. Connectives, they're a word or phrase that connects the idea of a speech and indicates the relationships between them. So this is going to include transitions, internal previews, internal summaries, and signposts. So transitions. Transitions includes it's a word or a phrase that indicates when a speaker has finished one thought and is moving on to another. So this is when you are, if you just finished your first point and now you're going on to your second point, you want to put a transition in there to indicate that you are moving on. So examples, now that we have explored the ancient origins of astrology, let us turn to its modern popularity. So much for the present. What about the future? So this is like you are indicating to your audience, like, we just talked about this thing. Now let's talk about this thing. You are connecting those ideas together. An internal preview is a statement in the body of the speech that lets the audience know what the speaker is going to discuss next. An example of this, in discussing how Asian Americans have been stereotyped in the mass media, we'll first look at the origins of the problem and second at its continuing impact today. So this is going to be before you start. So you're going to want to kind of give a little preview to the audience of what you're going to do. This is basically like taking your thesis statement and expanding it some. So don't put your internal preview where the thesis statement is. Put it before the first paragraph. So kind of in the introduction. So you're going to want it in the introduction before the first body paragraph. Let me make that clear. I said first paragraph, I meant first body paragraph. So you're going to want to give just a very short summary about what's going to happen or what you're going to talk about. Internal summary. This is a statement in the body of the speech that summarizes the speaker's preceding point or points. An example, in short, palm reading is an ancient art developed in China more than 5,000 years ago. It was practiced in classical Greece and Rome, flourished during the Middle Ages, survived the Industrial Revolution, and remains popular today. So when you give your speech, this is going to be in the conclusion. You're going to talk about or give a summary about everything that you talked about. So you want to give a summary preview and a summary post view. And those are the internal preview and internal summary. Then signposts is a very brief statement that indicates where a speaker is in the speech and that focuses attention on the key ideas. So this is like first, second, third, final, firstly, next, then, finally. This is just that first like word or phrase that shows people where you are in the speech. You can see these examples right here. So yeah, that is the organization of the speeches and how to outline them. Please watch the next lecture on picking your topic as well. Thank you.